Hey, yo, Jay, can we get some ratchet one time?
Look, I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop. I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peace. You gon' see the flex when you hear these writtens. Trust me, you know the difference. I got a long ways to climb before you see a slippage. I see the process and the journey I'm supposed to be, but perplexed, cause I don't really see nobody close to me. Hopefully this ain't wasted and I know it ain't. You gotta take the time for seasoning to marinate. You need the patience under pressure just to detonate. I'm trying to blow up and these heathens need to get it straight. Gifted with a vision and precision, I'm just trying to make it high key. Might be breaking free like I was Zion in some Nikes. Tucked at the crib, bro, you know just where to find me. Making beats and spitting crack verses pretty likely. Yeah, socks with the burst, boy, I ain't changed a bit. Normal guy till I die, you know what it is. You probably thought I'd give up now that I got some kids, but really now I got these arrows aiming at your ribs. I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop. I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peas. Hey, please be on the notice, these my motives. About my chicken and its rotis. You parsimonious, you take it all cause you a locust. My focus is to grow this mission. A visionary, get a dictionary. We here off the rip and we ain't sharing, we just caring. Let me speak it to the manager. We damage her, no you ain't messing with an amateur. I'm ramming, the competition, they ain't standing up. They fanning from left to right cause now they branded us. Now who that is? Mike Jones, they ain't want me now, they all on me. Got counterfeits trying to play me, I guess they thinking I'm Sony. These big head dummies showing up and out of their character. Homie, you need a price cause without it the squad ain't hearing you. Top of that, we ain't fearing yet. We swinging for the fences with the sting of a left hook that connects with Sonny Liston. I'm dismissing any and all of the disrespect. Nonetheless, it ain't a threat, I'm just letting y'all know who's next. I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop. I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peas, you gon' see the...
Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. How much the gang we packing? We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoes, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas, keep. You with me, sheesh. Benito, cheap, keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drum. key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, except for yesterday. I had some important stuff to do yesterday, guys, and I thought I was going to have to continue, but we got price movement here, so we got to go live. We can't leave the CandleMafia in the dark, guys, but Bitcoin finally hitting that $97,000 target at our macro golden pocket. On top of a bunch of other horizontal resistance, guys, Bitcoin is 100% at a major, potentially, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but this is the biggest battle for Bitcoin, guys. As we tap this major resistance, this could be the big turning point that, if flipped into support, can open up the door to some much higher prices for Bitcoin. But as we know, it is resistance, and we could look for pullbacks from here transferring through. Oh, no. Oh, no, guys. Oh, no. Oh, no. Am I live? Okay, I think we're live. Let me close. Okay, what is going on here? Bear with me here, guys. Are we live? Are we good? I'm choppy. Put a green check in the chat if we're still live here, guys. Oh, God. All right, we're not frozen anymore. Let me go ahead and I'm going to try to close EXO charts there. Okay, maybe free up some space there. So, but yeah, guys, we're at this major key level of resistance. You know that macro golden pocket was sitting at $97,000 in confluence with the POC of our major range, and this is potentially the turning point that, if flipped to support, can push us up to some higher prices, potentially looking between 102 to 103K, and if we could push up past that, potentially $105,000. We're going to go over all the key levels of support or resistance. Our next targets to the upside. I'll also talk about a key level that we want to remain above if we want this move up to continue. But yeah, if you guys tune in, not yesterday, but the day before, we were looking for some things to form on the 8-hour for Market Cypher B, not only making us anticipate a push to the upside, but also anticipating some potentially bearish signs at that level to point towards a potential correction coming down here. But are we bullish for Bitcoin yet here, guys? We're going to go over everything. We'll take a look at Market Cypher B, the key levels, the key targets, frozen a little bit. Yeah, it does look like it fixed itself there a little bit. Let me see. Is there anything else? I think we're good here. I think this is pretty much all I can close. We should be good now. We're not frozen anymore. Let's see. Yo, Gensler is back, rugging the live stream. Unbelievable, Gensler. Get him out of here. Let's see. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We got Hugo's in the chat. Jesse, our like police. If you asked her to smash that like button, please, for the love of God, smash it. We don't care if you touch it with your butt, headbutt it, touch it, lick it. We don't care. We don't judge you. Just smash that like button if you can, and you appreciate this free educational and magical crystal ball content. Let's see. We got Jay Violet in the chat. We got Newbie Crypto. What is going on? Welcome in. Let's see. We got Pop E22, Satoshi Glakamoto, one of the best names in the chat. We love Satoshi. Shout out to you, bro. We got Niels in the chat, said, stop the downloads. Shut EXO charts. We need the space, guys. We got to be live here. But shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. We got our mods in the chat as well. Tyler Durden, Rob the Crypto Snob. You guys know who they are. Crypto Billy, D Petty Crypto, Darren Does Things, Technically Tony D. You guys know who they are. Show them some love in the chat. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts and see if Bitcoin can get ready for a big move. Let's get into it. All right, here we are. We're not frozen yet. We're still good. All right. So, guys, obviously, as you know, we have been watching this golden pocket on Bitcoin forever, right? Pretty much ever since we made the first lows here. We were looking at that golden pocket retracement, but we also knew that was very likely for us to come down and tap that weekly naked point of control, which is where that golden pocket is pulled to, obviously, from the all-time high all the way to our swing low here at about 74,500. And that gives us that macro golden pocket sitting at $97,000. And if we zoom in here, guys, you can see we have come up and kissed the top of that golden pocket absolutely beautifully. Now, if we zoom out here just a little bit, you guys know it's not just the golden pocket, right? If we hide all the other resistance, we all know, right? If we're going to get that big bounce off those massive bullish divergences on Market Cypher B, on the daily, on the 2-day, we were looking for the break of our major downtrend that we were battling for so long, looking for that breakout to get that bigger retracement. We knew once we broke out of here, there was a good possibility that these strong, high time frame bullish divergences could give us the juice that we need to push up into that big, full golden pocket retracement. And not only is this a major level just based off the Fibonacci levels, guys, but we also obviously had a ton of horizontal resistance in here. This is kind of the level that we've obviously been playing around with for a while. But we have the monthly naked point of control. We first came up to our daily naked point of control here closer to 95.550. It was at about, right? We looked for short positions here in the premium Discord. We got a little pullback there, but as you guys know, I did take the short position from that daily naked point of control, but I was being very cautious. I actually wound up getting stopped out at break even on that trade. Not even on this move, but on this prior move back here. But you guys know, right? Like when we were looking at this on the higher time frames, we did see the way that this 8-hour was forming a potential green dot, making us look for a potential continuation to the upside to push into our next levels of resistance that were sitting between the monthly monthly naked point of control at $96,000 even, all the way up to the top of our golden pocket here at about 97.5. Now, obviously, we also have the POC of our macro ranges sitting in this area as well. I'll show this on our next chart that we're going to look at. But overall, guys, we finally got that full retracement. If you guys remember the thumbnail we put up, I think last week, we took out 88K, we took out 86K, took out 88K, and then it was knocking on that $97,000 door. We had the Reaper on the thumbnail, and here we are finally coming up and tapping that major target. And this is, in my opinion, guys, the biggest level. We have one more level above us. You can see this daily right here at about $98,300. We also have a daily naked point of control up there. Really, this entire zone of resistance that we've been looking at on the live stream has really been sitting between 95.5 and 98.3. But obviously, we got that little rejection at the beginning of the level. We got a little pullback, and now we're getting that second push up through the naked point of control, up into the top of the golden pocket. And we do have that one last level here at about 98.3, which I'm going to show you guys why I am paying attention to that level very, very closely. But if we do look here, obviously, we did come in and tap that top of the golden pocket absolutely perfectly. And on the 8-hour here, what we were trying to do here to predict this move was look for that 8-hour bearish divergence. Once these green dots start to print, we look for a potential lower high on our momentum waves, which would call for a higher high on price to get gravitated up towards that monthly naked point of control specifically, with obviously the POC of the range sitting up there as well. If we pull up this other chart, you can see here on our current volume profile, we have the POC sitting right here at $97,267, and we came up and we kissed that level absolutely beautifully. So this is obviously a major turning point, guys, because even if we're not looking at the horizontal resistance, you all know that if we are able to flip the POC of this major range to support, right, this would obviously open up the door to potentially get the bigger ride up towards our 786, which is sitting here at $102,253. And then just above that, obviously, we can potentially anticipate the value area high to come in as well for a full fill of that volume profile. But the real question is here, are we going to get the resistance up here at these next key levels before continuing our move all the way up to the value area high? Or are we going to break out to the upside and just squeeze these shorts into that major target? And we do have some local levels to look at as well, but over the grand scheme of things here, we are at the POC, guys. Finally, you break above the value area low, the next place for price to likely go is going to be that POC, and that is the level that we have just kissed. And this is typically where we do see some turbulence, right? POC of the range is the strongest level within the profile, not to mention all the other horizontal levels that we have in here. But again, kind of how we've been, as we've been looking at, right? When you have the strong resistance, sure, it could give you pullbacks to the lower prices, but at the end of the day, we do have our daily money flow crossed over into the green, making us anticipate the continuation of the uptrend, at least as of right now. Even if we were to get a little bit of a cool off, as long as this money flow stays in the green, we are going to be anticipating higher lows and higher highs to come in on price. And then again, like the biggest level to get above right now is to really break above that POC again of the current range, sitting at about $97,200. Once we get above there and we're able to build up some support here, I will say I would like to see multiple daily candle closures up here. If we could get a couple daily candle closures up here, it would greatly increase the chances of us getting that bigger push through the profile. Again, targeting the value area high at the end of the day at about $105,400. However, we do have some local levels as well. As you guys know, we have been looking at two major ranges. Number one, we're looking at our current range here, pulled from, this is pulled from Monday, the 11th of November, all the way to pretty much our current price action. And then we have our previous volume profile, if we pull that up as well. Very, very similar levels, but this is a little bit of a tighter range. You can see we're basically sitting at the POC of both of these ranges. The current range current range POC is slightly higher, but this previous range volume profile is also very important, right? Because if we did get above that $97,000 level, if we could hold this zone of resistance and flip it into support, right? And again, I'll just draw this out as a large zone because we've been looking at this as a few different levels, right? In the Discord, we have kind of like the cluster of horizontal levels. If we pull back this chart, right, we have the cluster of horizontal levels over here. Then we have the golden pocket and the daily, right? So if we do continue up, technically, in my opinion, the resistance really comes up to about $98,300 daily horizontal. We also have a daily naked point of control up there. So if we do continue the upside, I'm going to go down to the lower time frames and kind of talk about that. Kind of the two setups that we were looking at in the Discord was number one from the first zone of resistance. Again, I'll bring up this chart, it's a little bit more clear, right? First zone of resistance, right? Starting at the daily naked point of control, 97,550, all the way up to this daily level at 96,500. And then that second zone is pretty much sitting right here between the daily naked point of control, daily horizontal, 98.3, and the top of that golden pocket. So these are two major levels of resistance. But overall, if you're trying to keep things simple, this is just one gigantic zone of resistance. We have to get above all of this in order to open up the door to all those higher prices that I just talked about. And there are a lot of reasons to be looking up there if we could flip those levels again, guys, because although it is strong resistance right now, if you could flip above those levels, you have now flipped all that strong resistance into support, which would be very bullish in my opinion. At that point, you're above the POC of the range, and the next anticipated place for price to go is going to be the value area high. And when we look at the previous range volume profile, you can see the value area high is not quite at $105,000. So I am going to be looking at the targets through the lens of the previous profile, with the value area high coming in at about $103,000. This is confluent with the 786 of our macro Fibonacci retracement, right? Golden pocket, that was the big target. This 786 is the 786 of that fib pull from the all-time high all the way to our swing low down there at 75K. Once you get above that golden pocket, where's the next place for price to go? Well, very likely you're going to look for that 786, and then at that same time, you're flipping the POC, and when you flip above the POC, where's that next likely place for price to go? You're probably going to be looking up towards that value area high, and that is confluent here between about 102 and 103K. And then once we get up there, if we keep cooking, right, we could just simply pull that previous range off, turn on the current range, and then look at the next targets to the upside, which will be the daily naked point of control and the value area high at 105,433. So actually highlight this with a purple box real quick, right? So the next bigger targets to the upside, number one, going to be 102 to 103K within the previous profile, right? And just simple volume profile stuff here, guys, right? Get above the low. POC is next. Once you flip that POC / daily here, hold above here, that's where you're looking up towards that value area high for the full fill of the range. If we do get the pullback, because again, strong resistance, I want to talk about some key levels I'd like to hold, which obviously we have been looking at over the past couple of days. Yeah, wasn't able to stream last night, unfortunately, but again, you know, nothing had really changed. My sentiment was looking for that 8-hour bear div to push us into the next key level, and here we are once again. We actually used our 4-hour bearish divergence when we were wiggling around right here. We were using that the idea of this 4-hour bearish divergence forming to look for that new higher high into our daily naked point of control to take that next short position. Wound up taking that, like I said, stopped out at break even. And then we used that same kind of strategy to predict that next move into our monthly naked point of control, which is sitting at $96,000 right here. We were saying, well, hey, if we get that 8-hour green dot to print and we could look for that bearish divergence, it would call for a higher high on price to push us into our next key zone of resistance, which will be where I'm looking for shorts. And after I got stopped out of this short at break even, on Sunday, I guess, or maybe Monday. Once I got stopped out of that, my thought process was I was not holding any trades, as we talked about on the last live stream. I was simply waiting to come up here or waiting to come down here for either my next long position or my next short position. So right now, we are hunting for shorts up here in this resistance level, guys. But I am being careful, and I am treating these as scalps until proven otherwise, because we all know once you break above that 97K level, that is what could open up the door to push us into that value area high. Again, the local target between about 786 sitting at 102,245 and the value area high at 103K. And then honorable mention here, we do have a daily horizontal sitting at about 101,388. So you're going to want to have that on your chart as well. But with all that being said, guys, I will say, if we do continue up, the last level of defense that we have here, or the last level of resistance we have here, is going to be this daily. So either if we are going to cool off here, we'll see when this 8-hour bearish divergence prints. If we kind of just wiggle around here and we start to get that to print, we start losing this monthly naked point of control at 96K, we might be able to get the correction from here. However, when we start looking at Market Cipher B here, we take a look at the 30-minute. We have the VWAP coming up. Really what I'm looking for here is, again, if we lose $96,000, if we come down and we lose this level, we might get the correction from just tapping that golden pocket perfectly, which would be absolutely hilarious if that winds up being where we get the correction from, as we have been looking for that target forever. But with that green dot on the 30-minute, here's kind of what I'm looking for, guys. If we get that 30-minute green dot and we're able to get a little bit, and we're able to hold above $96,000, this monthly naked point of control will be a big level to hold. And the reason for that is because as it is a very high time frame key resistance level, once you get above that, right, we want to make sure that we stay above that as support, right? And then once we wind up losing it, in my opinion, right, 96,000, that even psychological level as well. It's not a huge psychological level in my opinion, but those even numbers are sometimes very psychological. That could give us the bigger pullback. But if that 30-minute green dot does give us another push to the upside, I will 100% all eyes on this $98,272 level, 98.3, right? You have the daily and the daily naked point of control. And then it really depends on when we see that 8-hour bearish divergence print, right? Again, if we wind up just coming down from here, losing 96K, very likely this VWAP will roll over. And then in hindsight, it will be like, hey, that's where that 8-hour bearish divergence formed, higher highs on price action, lower highs on our momentum waves, and then maybe we get the correction from there. But to be very clear, guys, on any correction down, I am being careful with the shorts only because of our daily money flow being in the green. Money flow indicates the longer term trend every single time, and it very, very rarely lies. So as long as this money flow stays in the green, we also have the daily VWAP coming up here for a potential green dot on the daily. This could also give us the power to push up to that $98,300 level. But that is really, in my opinion, guys, 98.3. Let's say, if we don't get the correction from here and we do push up to that 98.3 level, I would watch for that daily green dot, also watching for that 30-minute green dot to see if we could start the bigger push up. That is the last level that I would be kind of looking, well, not really. It's not the last level I'm looking at for a short, but I will say this is really the last level of resistance before we start approaching the massive, massive, massive high liquidity zone at about $99,500. This zone has been sitting here for a very long time, and it does sit right above this wick. And I showed this in the market update a little bit earlier. If we pull this wick right here, $99,500. I will just say I'll hide the daily here just to clean things up. Massive liquidity leading from that $99,500 wick all the way into about, I would call it $103,000, right? If I pull this up on the liquidity heat map, about 103.3 is kind of where that starts to fall off significantly at 101.5, right? But like really this zone is about $99,500 all the way up to about 103K. So, those liquidations are really just sitting all up here, right? And what do we know about liquidity? Well, liquidity acts as a magnet for price. And not only that, once we break into those liquidations and we see the shorts start to get wrecked, we could potentially, there we go. We could potentially see the move get very aggressive, right? At that point, we're above the POC of the range. We're above our last level of resistance at 98.3. And once we start cracking into 99.5, guys, just like we looked at previously, I don't want to go back too far in time here, but when we were looking for our target to get hit at $88,000, I believe, yeah, right here, where was it? When we were looking for the $91,000 value area low to come in, we had the same thing, right? We had those high amount of liquidations from the top of this wick right here, leading us into that value area low. So we knew once we start cracking into those liquidations, we could very likely see a big liquidation, kind of a liquidation pump, right? Or a short squeeze. That's what a short squeeze is. Once those shorts start getting wrecked, right, it adds market buy pressure into the books, and we get that big, big push into your next level. And this is kind of a similar move that I would look for if we could break 99,500. And you can see, as soon as you tap your head, and once you break in, boom, you go right up to that next key level. And that we had a similar happen where, again, you do have to get above 98,300. Again, that's our last level of resistance that I will be looking to short. And then once you get above there, right, we have one more setup we could look at here, but it's going to be really risky, right? Because unless you get a really aggressive liquidity sweep up here, it is going to be somewhat likely that if we push in here, we're going to get that market buy pressure. That happened here. We anticipated not only the move to the value area low, but we anticipated this to be a very aggressive move based on the liquidations that we had from about about 89K all the way up to $91,000 value area low. And you can just see how fast that move happened, very likely due to that liquidity. So I would expect something very similar here. So these are very, very key levels you want to pay attention to. 99,500, the start of the high liquidity area. And then just above us, if we do get one more push up and we don't reject from our flash daily horizontal, is that last level of resistance. And I know there's a lot of levels on the chart here, so I'm going to get rid of that liquidation box, get rid of that wick. And I'm just going to hide this and just show it in terms of the volume profile. I'll even hide the Fibonacci retracement, right? Because it's important that you know that all these other intermediary levels are sitting up here. This is a zone of resistance leading up to 98.3. But at the end of the day, guys, when we look at this in terms of the volume profile, like, don't sleep on the simple guide that the volume profile gives you, right? Again, we're getting a little resistance there at the POC right now, but once we're able to get above these levels and hold as support, break 98.3, liquidity leads all the way up to $103,000, at least into the 786 at 102,276. So very, very important. This wick at 99,500 is going to be huge to watch and could indicate the fast push up and the short squeeze into that 786. And again, the previous value area high, which is obviously confluent there. So that is what I'm going to be looking for. I almost just deleted that whole folder. But yeah, we'll see what happens as we tap on this naked point, on this, well, I guess technically naked, but on this POC of the range / golden pocket. Is this going to be the horrible resistance that we've been looking at? Or are we going to flip it, which again would be extremely bullish in my opinion if we can remain above these POCs / golden pocket. And it's just a simple kind of thought, right? Like volume profile, remain above the POC, value area high is your next level. Flip the golden pocket to support. Your next likely level is going to be the 786. And where's your value area high? Right here, 103. Where's your 786? Right here at 102, right? So we stay above there. It could, and then again, you have the added kind of confidence there with all that liquidity, right? So all we got to do is squeeze up, start hitting those liquidations, and push into your next key level. Assuming those liquidations are still there, right? The heat maps are not going to be 100% accurate every single time, but that liquidity has been sitting there for a very long time. And with the daily green dot, I would not be surprised if I stop out of my first kind of starter short position that I opened on our first level of resistance. I really wouldn't be surprised if that stops out if we get that daily green dot and that 30-minute green dot to push into 98.3 into that daily level, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Like I said, last stream, we were looking at the either, kind of just sitting here waiting for a push into our next major resistance level, which obviously we're in that zone right now, leading up to 98.3. This is where we're looking for the, whoops. This is where we're looking for the shorts, right? So we'll see what happens up here. And then obviously if we didn't come up and we went down first, we would have been looking for the longs down here at about 91K. But we got to move up first, so we're looking for the shorts. So we'll see. I do have a starter short position open here, but again, tight risk on that because I do think there is a decent probability of coming up to that 98.3 level just because of the daily green dot looking to print. Another thing that we were looking at on the live stream was the idea of the 12 and the 16-hour bearish divergences printing as well. This is kind of what made me think that if I didn't move my stop loss so early on the first short that I took up here, I did think that, we could push up to these next levels just because, the 8-hour bearish divergence, also the 10-hour, the 12-hour, and the 16-hour bear divs are looking to print as well, which obviously does call for that break of the high into the big level of front ran resistance. It's not very common. We talked about this on the last stream, right? It's not often that you front run monthly naked points of controls like that, right? So a lot of reasons to be, just like liquidity acts as a magnet, sometimes the MPOCs can also act as a magnet for price. And if I pull that up on the chart, on our first rejection from the daily MPOC right here, we front ran that by literally like 0.1%, right? So it's very often that you will come up and finally tap into those levels, very similar to what happened down here, right? We got the little front run of our weekly naked point of control. I don't think I have the weekly. Oh, yeah, I do. We got the front run of the weekly naked point of control, but what happens, right? You come up, you put the lower high end, you get the lower low to physically tap the level, and then that's where you get your really beautiful bullish divergences, calling for the big retracement into the golden pocket. So yeah, road to 97K is finally complete here, guys. But the real question is, are we going to flip it into support? Are we going to get the big rejection for resistance? As of right now, with the way that our daily money flow looks, we have to anticipate higher lows and higher highs. So I will be looking at the shorts as short term, right? Short shorts, looking for higher lows to come in and higher highs. And even if we pull back to about $91,000, this could still be a good place to look at. This is the same level we've been looking at on the stream a couple days ago with the value area low sitting at 91K. We also have a 786 Fibonacci retracement. We have a daily naked point of control in there as well. And then we also have a CME gap in there as well. Shout out to, I forgot who brought that up in the live stream. Somebody brought up the CME gap down here, and we looked it up, and it is indeed sitting down there, right? So again, we don't know if we're going to come all the way down there, but if we do, key levels really remain the same. Right now, very locally, 96K is going to be a big level. If we start losing 96K, we might be able to get the bigger retracement. But even if we do, right, based off the daily money flow, we have to be looking for higher highs and higher lows to come in, or higher lows and higher highs to come in, just because the money flow indicates the longer-term trend, right? So it's okay to cool off, right? But we are going to be looking for higher lows and higher highs, or maybe even an aggressive higher low and a higher high. So there you go, right? We'll see if I stop out of that short position. And again, I will be looking for another one up here at about 98.3. We'll see if we get the confirmations there. And again, 8-hour bear div into that key level will be a really, really nice confirmation, in my opinion, to see a little bit of a cool off. But again, you have to be careful there, right? Because at that point, you're above the POC of the range, right? So it's okay to look for shorts up here, but you have to understand as you approach that POC, which right now would be sitting, we'll be sitting about like 2% below you. You have to be careful there, right? Because again, you could be breaking through this resistance to flip it to support. So it's not that you can't capitalize on that move down, but you just have to understand the context of like, hey, if we start approaching this POC and things look like, the indicators look like they're ready to flip back to the upside, I might want to take some profit and move my stop loss to break even because, if we're going to hold that as support and push up towards the value area high, I want to make a little money, get stopped out in profit, and then, just look for the next trade, maybe even looking for longs on the retracement. But if we are going to come down and get a bigger correction to the downside, right, we do want to capitalize on that. So that's the next level, right? If you're not in a short from the level up here, right, the next key level to be looking at, in my opinion, I mean, really would just be between where we tapped and 98.3. So we'll see. And then once we break above that, guys, there's not a whole lot above us except for liquidity ready to get squeezed to the upside. So yeah, and then all the other key levels really remain the same. Again, 91,000, or basically the 786 at 92K now. So between 92 and about $91,000 is your first major level you want to hold. If we lose that level, if you guys remember to the last live stream, if we lose that value area low, obviously the macro, or not macro, but current value area low sitting at 89,500 is going to be another big level to hit, right? Or hold rather, right? Because if we do come down, maybe we want to test. If we're not just going to test the $91,000 value area low as support and get a push up. If we lose that, we're going to be looking at 88.5. This could be another retest of the value area low. And, value area lows are not typically where we get overly bearish. So just keep that in mind. That's where I would want to hold. This is also confluent with our lower range value area high coming down to about 88.5. So between 89.5 and 88.5 is kind of the real level that we want to bounce off of, right? Because once we drop below that value area high right here at 88.5, could be opening up the door for that much bigger correction down here, which would be more bearish in my opinion, right? So, in the most bullish case, we really want to hold above previous value area low. If we get a bigger correction, $91,000 about, and then if we lose that, really looking down towards the 89.5 to 88.5 down to that next confluent area of support right here. Bada boom, right? So if we don't hold here, right, if we do get the correction from where we're at right now, or even if we get the push up again, right, hoping to bounce here. If not, hoping to bounce here. If we get stuck under here, that's a bit more bearish in my opinion. And hopefully, if that does happen, we will have our short position from the high. But yeah, I'll just be honest, guys. I am a little bit suspicious right now. I was talking to the premium Discord earlier today saying, sure, we got some bearish confirmation up here, right? We have higher highs on our price action. I mean, again, look at how perfectly that golden pocket gets tapped. That's crazy. But you do get the higher highs on our price action, right? Lower highs on our momentum wave. So you do get local bearish divergences. That's why I did take a shot at a short over here. But I will say I am a little bit suspicious, right? Because all we really had there is low time frame bear divs. We didn't have any bearish CVD. We didn't have any order flow confirmations. We also don't really have any medium time frame bearish divergences either. It's really only those low time frame divs, which potentially could just give you a little pullback like this before finally coming up into that next key level, again, sitting at 98.3. And then if we see the 8-hour bear div print up there, it's going to be a much stronger confirmation, in my opinion, that you're going to get a significant pullback. And, anything can happen here, guys. Maybe we just squeeze up, right? Like, at the end of the day, who knows, right? Like, we could totally just come up, squeeze into the liquidity, and just get the full shot through the volume profile. It's not very common to see volume profiles fill, very directly like that. Let me hide some of this stuff. It's not very common to see your volume profiles fill so, quickly like that, where you just kind of go from the low into the POC. This is kind of that first big milestone where you start to see a little bit of turbulence. And again, I'm okay wiggling up here to about 98.3. But I would expect some kind of either pullback or even just kind of consolidation on that point of control. You could see that we did this on the way down, right? You lose the value area high, you go to the POC, you get stuck in your volume profile. Next likely place for price to go is the POC, and we just kind of chopped around there brutally for I think over a week, right? So we're either going to see something like that or some kind of a pullback. It's very unlikely, in my opinion, or, I wouldn't say unlikely, but very uncommon, which I guess kind of makes it unlikely. It's pretty uncommon to just see price go from the POC, value area low to the POC, and then just hop on top of that POC and go straight up. It happens. It does happen. But I would be very surprised to see no reaction at all here, either where we're at now or 98.3. But again, 98.3 could be the doorway to that short squeeze to higher prices. All those targets we just looked at, $102, $103, $105,000. All very key levels to have on your chart. Not only just the key levels, but understanding where that liquidity sits and what we will be expecting if that liquidity gets tapped into. Does that make sense? Shout out to the Candle Mafia. Let's see. Shout out to Poppy22. I'm way back in chat, but he said, I'm only hitting the likes. Only hitting the likes will fix the glitch. Let's go. Hopefully I wasn't frozen that whole time. Let's see. Shout out to Crash said, I don't understand why long-term shorts or any significant levels would still be there. this level or higher, wouldn't everyone have taken significant profits by now? Shout out to Crash. Yes, this is something you have to take in mind, keep in mind when you're looking for liquidations, right? You have to understand that like a lot of people who were short here, right? Anybody who was shorting this lower high, that's why all that liquidity sits there on the heat map. When you have all that liquidity sitting up there, you do have to understand like these heat maps do not update in real time. So it's like this is not, if people are going to take profits on the way down, right? This is, as you get the push down, like you have to understand, right? Like people are probably taking profits on this move, people probably closing in fear here, right? You also could have people adding to their shorts up there, you know, people who actually were looking for the lower high like we were. But yeah, people are going to be taking shorts on the way down. And that's why I mentioned when I first brought up the profiles, like these are not going to be 100% accurate because they don't update in real time, right? Like this is telling us that there's liquidity up here, but if a lot of those positions were taking profit and there is less liquidity up there, this hot yellow box of liquidity is not going to go away. It's still going to be there. So you do have to be a bit careful there. Anytime you look at a heat map, right? Because again, like those levels are not going to update in real time. So actually, shout out, who said that? Shout out to Crash. Very, very, I'm glad you said that because that is 100% something you want to pay attention to. And you are 100% valid by thinking that. People are going to take profits here. Obviously, if you close your trade here or close the whole thing, right? You know, partial profits is whatever. But, you know, a lot of people are probably going to be taking profits down here. And that is going to remove that liquidity if they close their whole position, right? Because their stop loss or the liquidation level is no longer going to be there because the trade is closed, which would affect potentially the idea of that short squeeze. But right now, it is still technically an area where we could say that we theoretically have liquidity sitting. So we'll see. Maybe we don't get the short squeeze, but just know if we break that level and you see a big pump to the upside, it is very likely based off that liquidity. And but it won't be 100%. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Snaz. Yo, Snaz said, can you repeat all that one more time? You were frozen. Jokes. Shout out to Snaz. Let's see. What is your POC price out? Shout out to CJ. So yeah, the two major profiles that I'm looking at is going to be this, right? I'll just pull these. I'll just pull these bare bones here, right? So grab the fixed range, right? So from right about here all the way to the current price action, this POC is being tapped right now, 97K almost, right? 96.68, right? And then the previous volume profile that we're looking at is actually pulled to right here on this candle. So let me just go ahead and move this here, right? So that POC is also sitting at about 96.7, right? Pretty much the same exact POCs. So yeah, like whether you're looking at the previous volume profile, which again is important to look at, right? Because if you're looking at the current profile, let's just be clear, right? If you're looking at the current profile saying like, hey, my value area high is at 105K and you get above that POC and you say squeeze this liquidity and you get that push to the upside and you start rejecting at like 102, 103K and you're like, wait, what the heck is going on here? Oh my God, wait, what the heck? We front ran the value area high. What did we reject here? Well, you probably rejected your previous range volume profile, right? Or your previous range value area high. Right, which does sit right here at about 103K. So it's important to know those levels are there, and that's why the way I do it is I will look at this target because it's the lower target, right? If we come up to hit 103K, right, I will be looking at this in case we get bearish confirmation up there to look for another short. However, if we start breaking above it, what are we going to do? We're going to be like, oh my God, wait, hang on. Let's check the bigger profile now because where's that next target going to be? It's probably going to be up at 105K. So yeah, both those POCs sit at about 97K, right? And again, why was this such a big level? I talked about this in the market update earlier today, right? Talking about how on April 10th and April 9th on the live stream, we were obviously looking at this. As we approach key support, guys, everybody's bearish. Everybody says bear market, right? And whether they're right or wrong, right? Maybe 100, maybe if we get the big rejection here at the golden pocket, right? If you do think it's the bear market, right? If all those people that were calling for the bear market down here, oh my God, you're an idiot if you think the bull market is still happening. This is the bear market. This is the level, right? If you think it's the bear market, this is like a golden opportunity to get out of your bags, right? And expect that next massive drop down into the 75% correction, which would be a 4-year cycle bear market, which a lot of people were looking at down here, but not us. I stuck to my guns. Not bearish here, guys. Sure, we could go lower, but I do not think the bull market is over. And again, I could be wrong about that. If we reject here and make that massive lower low, maybe I am wrong. The bear market's here. But either way, whether this is going to be a macro lower high for a massive dump and another lower low, or if we're just coming up here to get a little pullback and break up to higher prices, this was the major golden pocket retracement to look for because price doesn't just always go down in a straight line, right? Like everybody just thinks like once it dumps here, it's just like, oh my God, that's it. It's over. It's going to zero. I have to sell down here. It's never going back up, right? Things change very fast. And again, on April 10th or April 9th is when we saw these bull divs forming. But the post I showed earlier today on the Discord, from the Discord, on the market update was on April 10th, just kind of updating the Mafia, letting them know, like, guys, this doesn't look that bad. Right? We have our major trend line here. We have massive bullish divergences into the key level of support that we watched forever. Since January, we looked for a potential correction down to 80 to 75,000, right? And what happens? We get down there. Everybody is super scared, which is a plus for a move up, right? Everyone's super bearish. Everyone's calling for the bear market. I can't take it anymore, right? And then we start putting in massive high time frame bullish divergences into a 786 retracement, into the weekly naked point of control. And if we could stay above this trend line, we're going to be looking for that retracement into the golden pocket. Let me just pull up my face cam real quick here. And just see, and again, we could have been wrong about that. We're not going to be right 100% of the time. But yeah, you can see this right here from the, come on. There we go. Right. And we looked at this on the, live streams as well, right? Overall, we have the daily bull div printing as we push into the 786 weekly naked point of control. If this 2-day bull div can print, we could see the continuation up for our bigger retracement over the medium term. Looking for that exact $97,000 golden pocket that we are looking at. And again, we could have been wrong about that, but again, it's just like the fear at the lows. If this teaches you anything about trading or crypto in general, when everybody thinks it's over, it is typically time for a bounce, especially if you have big confirmations on the chart printing, especially on a high time frame. I want to be very clear about this because I know we talk about a lot of advanced stuff here. We talk about the order flow sometimes, right? We talk about the divergences, all this stuff, all the key levels, the naked points of controls. But at the end of the day, guys, it really, and I know there's a lot of levels and all that, the POC, the volume profiles. I know it gets very confusing, but just to really show this, whether you were looking at the volume profiles, the naked points of controls, really the basis of this thought was really just the Fibonacci retracements. We knew if we broke these lows, we had a lot of liquidity sitting below, which could cause a massive trigger to the downside. But this is going to be our first zone to look for some kind of a bounce to come in between the golden pocket and the 786 as usual. And we have the weekly naked point of control confluent down here, and we start putting in simply, we know this is key support. We put in high time frame bull divs, daily, 2-day, etc. You're at least going to get some kind of a bounce here. And then once you see that daily money flow cross over into the green, you're anticipating the continuation of that trend, right? And again, the idea there was to get the full golden pocket retracement, right? Which we, again, are sitting there right now. And I don't just say this to brag and be like, oh, we called it, right? And we're cherry picking everything that we call only right, never wrong. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to show like very simple stuff here. If you're looking for a bounce, where's that that first place to look for the higher low? It's going to be at that golden pocket 786. And how are you going to know if you're going to get the big bounce there? Well, very simply put, you look for a reversal trigger, right? Which would be a divergence, especially on a higher time frame with money flow coming up, and boom, right? It did take a long time, but here we are. Finally. And then you start to look here, like, well, how likely is it for us to visit that golden pocket? Well, that would be a full retracement, but then you start to think, well, hey, it's also the POC of our volume profile, right? POC is in there. That acts as a magnet for price. And then you could start to develop your plan where it's like, well, hey, if we get above that value area low at 91K, that greatly increases the chances of coming up to that POC, right? Just based off the laws of the volume profile. Go from the low. Next likely place for price to go is that POC. And I just like to break that down nice and simple because you don't need to look at every single thing. You don't want your chart to be too crowded with too much information. Too much information is bad information. Really, the basis of this was Fibonacci retracements and market cipher B, right? And Fibonacci retracements, right? Very, very simple. And the question here is, hey, is this, just like this was a key level to look for a higher low, is this where we should be looking for a lower high? And in my opinion, right, the reason we are looking for shorts up here is because this could just be a lackluster retracement for lower highs and lower lows. And market cipher B, as far as the daily goes, I have to lean in the medium term, right, or shorter to medium term, I have to lean towards higher lows and higher highs. Why? Money flows in the green on the daily. And if this continues up, it's likely going to leak into the 2-day, right? And the 2-day money flow is trying to come up as well, right? If we can get that 2-day money flow crossover, we could dodge the bullet of putting in a macro lower high here and putting in a lower low. But I'll be honest, I don't want to talk about the lower low right now because we're really far away. And until we lose this volume profile, there's really no reason to look for the lower low, in my opinion. It's not until we start losing really that 88.5 level. Once you lose 88.5, that greatly, let's say we do get the pullback from here, right? And we start losing the lower range volume profile, right? We lose that value area high. We break into this range. There's still some opportunities to bounce here, but once you lose 88.5, in my opinion, it does open up a little bit higher probability that we could come in and put a lower low in. Is that going to be the bear market? In my opinion, not necessarily, right? Why? Because there is another full Fibonacci retracement down there that we could look at for support. But I'm not going to cover those levels today because this is a pump day, and we're going up, baby. So we're just going to hopefully continue that bullish momentum. So if we continue up, 98.3 is the next target. If we come down, 96K is the major level that we want to hold. And if we get stuck under 96K, we might be able to get a continuation down. But yeah, I would probably lean, even though I am holding a short right now, I would probably lean towards a potential hold of support. Even if we don't come down to 96K, we'll see what the daily green dot and that 30-minute green dot gives us. I think there is a possibility to come take that high into 98.3 before maybe getting a better chance of a correction. So there we go. Let me come in and check in on chat. Let's see. Silly pullback before FOMC for sure. Yeah, shout out to JP. Potentially. The current FOMO makes me think the price might correct soon. Everyone is bullish. Yes, absolutely. And that's why I want to be very clear. It's always an if this, then that statement, right? A lot of times you'll see people get bullish because of the pump, right? When we get bullish, we are typically bullish when no one wants to hear me say it's going up. It's when we're coming down and we're like, hey, high time frame bull divs, not 100%, but more often than not, you will see this give you a bounce. If it's a big bounce and we can break out of the trend line, we'll likely go to 97K. But we are saying that all the way down here. A lot of people don't get bullish until you see the first big pump, right? And then they're getting bullish up here. But at this point, we have already been bullish for that 29%. We've gotten that 30% rip from the bottom. And we are 100% in a major resistance zone, right? We could even play around up here. You might kind of consolidate up here a little bit, right? And we'll see what money flow looks like. We'll see what market cipher B as that develops. But this is 100%. I want to be very clear. This is a plethora of resistance. Major level. The good thing is, if you flip it to support, it could be very good, right? But until we get above here and we start closing daily candles above there, it is a big level that would be a high probability for at least some kind of a correction. Maybe you come down, fill that CME gap, and then maybe we get the bigger move up, right? If I were to just draw this out like as squiggly lines on a chart, I would say, right, the highest probability, like the scenarios that I would be looking for would be this, right? And again, because the money flows in the green on the daily, any shorts are going to be looked at as scalps until proven otherwise. But, if we get a bigger pullback here, whether we come up first or not, right, to 98.3 or not, if we do get a pullback, right, lose the POC, I would want something like that. That would be very nice, right? If we lose this level, I would like the bounce from here, right? Between 89.5 and 88.5 with our lower range below, right? So zone number one, I'm going to give you 3 major levels of support if we see a big pullback. $92 to $91,000 first big level. If you lose that, it's going to be 89.5 all the way to 88.5. That would also not be bad for a continuation through the profile. And again, I wouldn't expect it to just be a Lambo candle like that. Hopefully it is. And then once we start losing 88.5, this is really where it's like, hey, we're probably going back to 84. If we lose that, right? And then losing this level would greatly increase the chance of potentially getting a lower low to come in. But even then, that does become a little bit of a difficult situation because if we pull our Fibonacci retracements from the low to the high, you could see here, golden pocket sitting on the POC, 786 sitting below the value area low. So, I mean, from a Fibonacci standpoint, right, like you could technically bounce off that 786. This is the infamous August 5th situation that we talked about, a million times, right? You get the rip to the upside. Whoops. You get the rip to the upside. You get the bigger correction down to the 786, and then you get the pullback to the upside. If it's going to play out like that, there is a chance you can come down to that 786. But in my opinion, like once you're out of this once you get down here, it's like you've already gotten a pretty good rejection out of your major volume profile. And especially if that rejection comes near the POC, could look good for a lower low to come in, which I would be looking at about $72,000 to $70,000. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We finally got the road to 97K to play out. We'll see if we could get the pullback. And again, things could get exciting if we start breaking that 99.5 level with all that liquidity. Let's see. Is it bullish that we didn't dump from the golden pocket? CJ, that's a great question. I mean, listen, it depends. You're not always going to get like a really instant rejection. I mean, if we look at this from a higher time frame standpoint, right? VWAP coming down on the 4-hour, right? If we come down, I'm covered. But again, I would say like I wouldn't be shocked if I get stopped out of this position, right? Because again, we were looking at 2 levels in the Discord. Kind of 2 different short setups, and the last one kind of last line of defense was 98.3. But we'll see, right? If we wind up dumping from here, it will look, right? Let's say we get pulled back to 91K from here. In hindsight, that golden pocket was the level we had dumped from, but you don't always get the dump immediately. So I wouldn't really look at that as like a bullish sign because we haven't reclaimed it just yet. If we broke above this, flipped it to support and kept going, that would be much more bullish. But we technically are rejecting that top of that golden pocket right now. So I wouldn't really say that's very bullish. Not saying it's bearish, but I wouldn't like look at that as like a massive bullish signal because we technically are pulling back from there. But really, I mean, what I'm looking for, guys, are daily candle closures above this whole zone, right? Like really above the POC. But if we could hold above that daily naked point of control at 98.3, like that would be very bullish in my opinion. Start sweeping some of that liquidity to the upside, assuming that liquidity is still there. Or even so, even if the liquidity isn't there, just from a volume profile perspective, I mean, you flip the POC, the next likely place for price to go is that value area high. So we'll see. All right. We should have put 102K incoming, question mark, on the thumbnail, because maybe we'll just go live tomorrow and we'll be there. But let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Jack. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you so much. He says, can we take a look at ICP? Yes, we can try to take a look at ICP. Let me go ahead and write that down. Quick reminder. Super chats are not guaranteed we look at your altcoin, but we do try. We do try as best as we can. But shout out to Jack. Yeah, we'll try to take a look at ICP. I do want to take a look at Ethereum, Solana. We'll take a look at all the big boys. And then maybe we'll take some requests from the chat. Let's see. Do you see a blow-off top scenario? Shout out to Braitham. I mean, listen, this is pretty much let's say in the most bullish case, right? Let's say that the daily money flow stays in the green. The 2-day money flow comes back up. Let's say the top is not in. We're assuming that the top of the bull market is not in, which, again, I fall in the camp of it not being in. I think that we could continue to new all-time highs. But let's assume that we are going to continue up in a big way, and we're going to put in some new all-time highs. Again, what I would be looking at as far as like moves to the upside, I guess we could talk about this briefly. This is not me saying because we're at this golden pocket that we are going here, right? We are at the wall. Right? Like, and we looked at this through the volume profile as well. And I think the VPVR does a good job of like visualizing this. This is like another reason why we looked at this level, just kind of showing, right? Like this is the highest volume node with throughout all this price action, right? This is the wall. This is the massive wall that we have to get above, right? Because even if you're not looking at Fibonacci levels, right? Obviously, it does line up beautifully, which is why it's such a key level with all the monthly naked points of controls in there, plethora of resistance, but just in general here, right? Like, where would you expect the resistance to really pick up? Well, I would say this high volume node is a huge key level because even if I wasn't looking at this volume profile from up here and I was just looking at the volume nodes and I wasn't looking at the Fibonacci retracements, I would just know based off what I know about volume, volume distribution like this is, well, hey, if we get up to here, it's going to be a wall of resistance, right? Like, this is probably going to give us some struggle, but if we can flip it to support, that is where, hey, there's not a lot of volume above there, right? And that's where things can volume starts to fall off and price starts to move very quickly. If we see a situation like that from a simple standpoint, again, not trying to predict exactly what's going on in here, just from a simple standpoint, we get above this level and we go into new all-time highs. Where would I be looking? Well, simply put, next major target would be about between 118 and 124K, right? 124.5. Fibonacci extensions, right? We use these same extension levels to predict the all-time highs that we've already come to, right? If I pull up the cycle chart real quickly here, we also have a major spider line here. We actually, this was drawn from back when we first approached this level, but major spider line sitting here at about 9, basically where we're at right now as well, right? So it'd be really nice to flip that on top of all the horizontal levels. You have that massive spider line. Yeah, pretty crazy. But if I pull up where's my cycle chart real quick? Cycle chart. Where is it? Do I not have my cycle chart up right now? Oh my God. Oh no, here it is. Okay, so let's pull up Bitstamp here real quick, right? Major target number one for me in this bull market was between 91 and 101K. How is that? What was that based off of? I pulled my Fibonacci from the all-time high to the all-time low in 2022, looked at the Fibonacci extensions, 91 to 102K. Where did we get our first stall from? Right in that zone. We lost it. If we break out, right? If we break out, and again, this sits at 102K near that value area high. If we wind up getting a breakout above the all-time high, where's that next major level I'm going to be looking at? There's a few different levels, right? When you pull from the all-time high of 2021 to the bottom of the bear market in 2022, your next major Fibonacci retracement or extension sits at about 136.8 to 155K, right? So over the long term, we could potentially anticipate a move up here, right? That would be a big, big, big target for me. If we make it up here, I will be looking to take some more profit on my Bitcoin. However, when we look at the local retracement levels, let me, right, when we pull from the all-time high that we just made all the way to the bottom of the correction that we just got, that gives us a little bit more of a local target at around 118,256 up to about 124K, and then above that 131K. So that might be where we get a little bit of turbulence on the way to those bigger targets at around 137. And again, 155K is also on this fib as well, right? So, listen, are we going to hit 200K this cycle? I don't know, right? Nobody does. Nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody knows for sure. But in my opinion, between 137 and 155K are really two big macro targets. And then we have these little local Fibonacci targets on the way, 118 to 124K. Again, nothing ever really goes in a straight line forever. So you have to anticipate, potential pullbacks. We don't know what it's going to look like. But then once we break above here, 137, 155K would be like the next targets I would be looking at. Now, above that, we have about $202,000, right? Like, am I just going to be holding my Bitcoin waiting for $202,000? Absolutely not. Right? There's no guarantee we get up there. So it's all going to be, I'm a level-to-level trader. It depends on the reactions and the confirmations that we get at each target. If things start to look really bearish as we tap into these key Fibonacci levels, I might take a little bit more profit based on what the chart looks like at that time. If we get up here and it looks super bullish, like we're going to explode again, right? Maybe I take a little profit and I hold a little bit, right? It's all going to be reactionary based, depending on what happens at these next technical levels. But those are just simply the next local Fibonacci targets I'm looking at. Break the all-time high. I think 118K is pretty likely. And then you just come up and play in this zone. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Again, we have to get above, just to visualize it, the massive, massive wall of resistance, right? So we'll see what happens, right? And I'll be honest, the end of this high volume node, ends right above this wick at 99,500, where all that liquidity might still be sitting, right? So again, just like another reason, get above here. It really does open the door for higher prices, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. But that's my general thoughts here based off of everything that I'm looking at. Let me just go ahead and delete some of this stuff. I'll fix this all later. Turn this off, and then we'll just keep an eye on here. See locally what we have going on. Yeah, I mean, you got your 15-minute money flow is finally starting to trend out here with the 4-hour red dot potentially looking to print. So again, if it comes down, it's great. I have my position here with a tight stop loss. If we come back up, I will just be looking at 98.3. I'm happy to take a small loss here in case it is the top. But I will say it would look, again, we didn't have any bearish CVD or anything up here, so the confirmations were kind of lackluster. I would really, if we come up to 98.3 with the 8-hour bearish divergence, it would look like a little bit better of a place to reject from, in my own personal opinion. And there's that, whoops, do I not have the daily on here? What the heck? Where's the daily naked point of control? 98,272 is really that level. So we'll see, right? We could kind of just play around up in here as well, right? We don't know exactly how it's going to play out. But in hindsight, if we get a bigger pullback, this is the biggest zone to pull back from. Once we get above it, there's not much above us. So there you go. Let's see. Let's check in on the Mafia real quick. Shout out to Nathan. Said, anyone who has the means should hold at least one Bitcoin regardless of price action, in my opinion. Shout out to Nathan. I would agree with that, bro. I would generally agree with that. Shout out to Vegas Call, said hits wall of resistance and finds liquidity. Let's go. 2026 lows are going to be amazing. I can't wait. Shout out to JP. I'll be honest, guys. I'm low-key a little bit, I don't know. It's like people get all sad, oh no, it's going to be the bear market again. I don't know. We had a great time in the bear market. I built my channel in the bear market. So it's fun. It's super. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you. I must have missed a super chat. Let's see. Shout out to Hannah King, gifting the Mafia a membership. Let's go. Shout out to Hannah King, the princess of the Candle Mafia. Drop those tiaras in the chat if you have a Frankie Candles membership. And shout out to Hannah King. Good to see you in here. Long time no see. Always happy to have you in here, Hannah. And shout out to Dawn. Just got a membership. Let's go. Shout out to Dawn. Welcome to the muscle. And Tony D said, hey, sorry, missed the start. Is this a normal stream or are we hilariously pretending it's a short stream? Shout out to Tony D. By the way, guys, stick around. We're going to have to wrap this up really quickly. It's going to be a super short stream. We're definitely not going for 2 hours because, as you know, when we say it's going to be a short stream, we take that very seriously. So shout out to Tony D. Hashtag short stream. Let's see. Are we holding above the POC, Frankie? If so, why are you shorting here? If we grind up, we go to the value area high. No. Question mark. Shout out to Frederick. Okay. So right now, currently, we are below the POC, right? At least the one that I'm looking at. Maybe if we, this is actually behind a couple of candles. Let me see if I move this. If this moves the Let me pull this up on a cleaner chart. All right, let me just pull this real quick. Yeah, I mean, we're technically below the POC. And here's the thing, right? Generally, I'm not a big fan of taking shorts in the middle of the range. The only reason I am interested here is because of the plethora of resistance that we have, right? Like the millions and millions and millions of levels that we have in here. Where am I? Pull it up over here, right? Like the only reason I'm interested in this is just because it is the golden pocket retracement. We do have a bunch of horizontal levels. And on top of that, right, I am going to be looking at the shorts as scalps until proven otherwise, because we do have mixed signals here, right? We do have the potential 4-hour red dot printing. We do have low time frame confirmations. So once we came up to this key level with the short-term or low time frame bearish divergences, that's enough for me, right? Again, it's not the most beautiful confirmation. I do think we can get that move up to 98.3. We didn't have any bearish like CVD divergences or anything up here. But you know, if that 4-hour red dot prints and we lose 96K and we get the pullback from here, I just want to take a shot. But again, it is very low risk. If I take a small stop loss here, it's totally fine. It's going to be a small loss, and then I'll just look to see if we get confirmations here. So yeah, the reason I took this short is pretty just simply based off the low time frame bullish divergences, which again is not the highest probability confirmations. I like to have multiple high probability confirmations, but again, I just adjust my risk accordingly, right? I'm not going to risk a ton of money if I don't think it's the most significant move. But if it is going to be that move, I want to get in here, and it's not just off of nothing, right? We did get some kind of confirmation there, and you know, we'll see. We'll see. If we get the next squeeze up to 98.3, you know, we'll look for another short up there, and I'll take that stop loss pretty shortly, or pretty small stop loss. But, yeah, we'll see what happens here first. We'll see what happens here. So hopefully that answers your question. But again, I'm not looking at this, you know, could this turn into like a giga short? Maybe. But again, with the daily money flow coming up, I would just be looking at that to be more of a retracement to the downside. And I could totally get stopped out, right? This is not, I am not telling everybody to short Bitcoin here, right? That is for sure. Let's see. Shout out to Alexander. Alexander says, why are people fudding ETH this time around? Longing ETH at this price is easy money. Yeah, shout out to Alexander. I would hope so. Yeah, I mean, listen, people are. It's the same thing with Bitcoin, right? It's the same thing. Like when everybody was screaming bear market, I'm sure everybody has forgotten about that at this point. But you know, everybody was screaming bear market here. Everyone was so scared this is the bear market, and now everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's going $1 million!" Right? Same thing with ETH, right? No one's gonna be bullish on ETH until it's coming back up here. You're not gonna see the bullish green thumbnails for ETH. Oh my God, massive ETH pump incoming. Like you're not gonna see those until price is all the way up here. Right? You know, the reason people are not as bullish on ETH is because it's not pumping as hard. Now again. Does this look like the most bullish chart I've ever seen? Not necessarily. Yeah, you know, we've done. I've done my TA on ETH a million times, so I don't want to really like beat the dead horse. But if we come on over here, I'll kind of show you my thoughts here. You know, obviously, you know, we're still sitting at this golden pocket, which was our first target. Once you get above that POC, we look to go to the golden pocket. Once we flip this golden pocket, we can go to the 786 value area high, sitting between about $19.40 and $2,010. But for me personally, right, like. You do have the bullish divergences on the 2-day, right? 2-day bull div, money flow trying to come back up. 3-day bullish divergences confirmed as well. You know, weekly green dot confirmed. How's that 2-week green dot looking? Yeah, 2-week green dot also looking to print. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's, you know, when they don't go up in a straight line, it's hard to see like the general crypto community be bullish on something. Like everyone's going to, you know, it's not until Ethereum breaks like $5,000 where you're going to start seeing people say Ethereum's greatest comeback. Could this totally, can Ethereum flip Bitcoin? Like it's not until it winds up pumping that people are going to stop fudding it. But yeah, I mean, listen, if it does make another drop to the downside, I have the value area low marked down here at about $1,300, and that's if we go back down there. But for me personally, again, to see like a real sign of strength here on Ethereum, I would really like to get above these this lower high here at $2,100, right? Like, because we could wiggle around in this volume profile down here. We went below the range, couldn't get back out, went to the POC, back above the POC, like. You know, you could see that fill in full potentially. Really depends on what Bitcoin does as well. But it's not really like once we get up here and flip that $2,100 value area low to support, that's where I would be expecting the much bigger move up for Ethereum, right? And it could be, you know, just lagging slowly behind Bitcoin, obviously. You know, we have this like super, I mean, you can't even really draw this as a trend line. It's kind of just, yeah, I mean, it's like, you can't really connect it. But, you know, once we wind up breaking out of that, you know, massive, we break out here. It's kind of similar. It reminds me of Bitcoin over here, right? you have your massive downtrend, you break out of the downtrend, you start to consolidate, you pop up, and you approach the macro value area low, right? Kind of similar to Ethereum here, right? If I just hide the lower range, right? You start breaking above that trend line, you start consolidating, daily money flow looking to cross over into the green. That could give us our journey to retrace into that $2,100 value area low. And then once we get up there, we can look to go to the POC at 2350 or 2340, get above there. We can start our bigger journey up to the value area high. So yeah, I mean, is ETH dead forever? I would highly doubt it. Not financial advice, right? Like, maybe I get wrecked on my Ethereum. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's really low probability that ETH doesn't come back. I have faded ETH in the past. Has high gas fees, everything. There's so many other better things out there. Like, why would anyone buy Ethereum? What is going to pump the price? Like, and I faded it, and it still pumps, right? It doesn't always perfectly line up. Sometimes, especially in crypto, things pump regardless of fundamentals. So, especially with like all the institutional adoption, all the ETF stuff, I would be shocked if ETH never goes back up, right? And I would definitely not be selling my bag down here. That is for sure, right? And again, maybe I wind up regretting that, right? Like, the charts aren't right 100% of the time, but one thing is for sure, just like on Bitcoin, and hopefully, if you tune into this live stream every day, hopefully I've helped you at some point. Try not to sell the bottom. But it's the same thing as we come down to this key level of support. Like, this is the last. Even if I thought, which I didn't, even if I thought this was the bear market, this is not where I'm selling my bag, right? Actually, I actually mentioned, hey guys, I would never sell my bag down here, even if I thought it was the bear market. If I thought it was the bear market, I would at least wait for a retracement into our full golden pocket 786 retracement, right? So if I did think it was the bear market, I would just be offloading all my crypto right here. But again, as I said down here, I do not think it's the bear market. I could be wrong. I might get wrecked, right? I'm not 100% right all the time, but we do pretty well here if you tune in every day. You know that. But yeah, it's like, this is just not the time to sell. Like, even if you still think it's the bear market, you're going to be so happy that you didn't sell at the bottom, right? Like, look for the signs on the chart. Wait for a retracement. And if you do still think it's the bear market, this could be your best bet to look to maybe take off some of your portfolio, right? And like cover some of your losses potentially. I don't personally believe that. But again, if you do think that, if you thought this was the bear market and you were super upset, oh my God, I'm never going to get my money back. Why did I get into crypto, right? Just bring me back to break even. That's all I'm asking. If you still think that, right? If you thought that down here, don't get greedy up here, right? Because if you're at break even now and it comes back down to make a new lower low, just trust me from experience, right? The only reason I know all this is because I've done it all the worst way, right? Oh my God, please just get me back to break even. I'll do anything just to go back to break even. I don't care. I won't get greedy. And then you get back up to break even. You're like, wait, no, hang on. Bull runs back on. Let's go, right? So you got to make your own financial decisions. I don't think it's the bear market, but at the end of the day, it could be. And if you thought that down here, this would be a big, big, big level that you would have been praying for price to retrace to. Let's see. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. Let's see. I only sell bottoms personally. Shout out to Golden Child. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Just think of it as a long-term savings. Bank it and wait a few years equals profit. Shout out to Hugo's. With Bitcoin, 100%. Yeah. I would never. I don't have to worry. I didn't have to really worry about this move because obviously we got into the bear market, right? So this is like nothing for me. This is just a typical crypto pullback, as I said on my show as it was happening. But the emotions are real, right? If you're here and you were here when we were pulling back here, you will know. I think some people got a little upset, right? Because I just wasn't tripping down here, right? I'm just like, guys, it's not necessary. Just because we pulled back this much, what did this wind up ending in, right? What is it, 32%? This is not a bear market. I saw so many people posting, we're down 20%. It's an official bear market. That I don't know how long they've been in crypto for, but a 20% dump on Bitcoin does not equate to a bear market. We've had 20% dips through this bull market already, right? This was a 30% dip. That was a 25% dip. And if you go from wick to wick here, that was a 33% dip, right? And what happens? You go in for your next leg. Doesn't guarantee that we have to go for the next leg. But again, that's why I don't freak out, especially when everyone else is freaking out. When there's panic in the streets, take a deep breath, sit on your hands, and try to think logically. I don't care what people say on Twitter. I don't care what people say on YouTube. What's the chart telling me, right? I don't come up here and say, I think that we're going to bounce here, or I don't think this is the bear market because I'm praying that price goes back up. I only say it because we have the signs on the chart. If these bull divs were not here at the 786, I would have been way more bearish, and I would have been looking for $72,000 to $70,000. But you see the signals, right? And if you did sell the bottom here, take it as a learning opportunity, right? Hopefully you didn't. But if you did, just take it as a learning opportunity, right? Like, you don't sell as it's dumping. At least wait for a retracement, because at the end of the day, this could be a bear market, right? I could be wrong. And we could go down into a 75% bear market, right? And if that were the case, right, you're going to wish that you sold up here, right? So you have to kind of stick to your guns and, just stick to your plan. But you definitely don't want to sell here, only for price to rip back up. You get FOMO, you buy back in, and then you get wrecked again. So I know it's hard, and I know it sounds so simple. It's so simple, but it's so hard. Two different things. It's as simple as ABC, but as hard as trying to, I don't know. What's really hard? I don't know. It's extremely hard, though, right? Just when everyone's scared, that is not when you want to sell, right? When everyone's super bullish, usually not when you want to buy. And I know a lot of people learned that up here when they bought, when everyone was super bullish, and then they sold down here when everyone was super bearish. So just try to remember that. I know it's hard. Sometimes it's even hard for me, right? But let's see. Still waiting for the huge God candle to confirm. Shout out to Cyrus. Hopefully it's coming soon. Let's see. Frankie just started an OF where he just posts pure hot alpha sauceness. Shout out to Hugo. So yeah, only charts, only divs. Shout out to Udi. Says, don't stop the live stream. Isn't the daily candle about to close? We do have an hour left to close this daily candle. So we'll see what happens, right? I mean, I would really like daily candle closures above the POC. But, I mean, even if we close it below, I know, like, everybody, I like to see multiple candle closures, right? Like, I think there's this, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for this, but, like, I don't know. I think it's, like, a lot of, emphasis on, like, the candle's about to close. Like, this is it, right? But it's like we could close down here and then just pump back up and then close tomorrow's candle up here, come back down, close. So it's like, but, yeah, I mean, if we close the daily candle up here, that would be pretty bullish in my opinion. If we close below, is it mega bearish? Not necessarily. But yeah, I mean, again, guys, this is a big zone. We could hang out in here for a little bit, right? So we'll see what happens. Shout out to Machine. Shout out to Machine. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, even though it's unrelated to the holiday, May Day means we're going down. Mayday, mayday, mayday. They love to relate the unrelated from Bensonhurst. What's up, Frankie? Shout out to Machine. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Yeah, I give this May 1st. They say sell in May and walk away. Is that going to be true? Can some at Tony D? Tony, can you look up? I don't have the chart on me right now. Can you look at the chart of Bitcoin's performance, like over since its inception, month-wise? How many Mays have actually been bearish? Because I would love to know that. They always say sell in May and go away. Oh, no. Am I frozen? Oh, no. I think we might be frozen. I'm just going to keep going as if we're not frozen because it'll probably catch up. But yeah, Tony, if you could find that, because I would love to know that, because I wouldn't be shocked if more Mays were bullish than bearish, because I don't know. Sometimes these things just go through. People just make these sayings up and they're not necessarily true. But check for Bitcoin, Tony, if you can. All right, we're good. Thank you, Crypto Billy. Captain Kirk in the chat. Welcome in, Cap. Thank you for being here. Said, okay, kiddos, got to go to work. Love you, fam. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being the CandleMafia mama. Have a great time at work, and we will be here for you tomorrow night. Let's see. Pie in May and far away. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Shout out to Giga Longbottom. Said, Frank, what do you think the bear market will look like if we did actually break the 4-year cycle? It depends on how the 4-year cycle breaks, right? Let's just say, 4-year cycle or not, right? Like, I would say, only thing I can say is that, like, you could just look at past performance, right? All we could do is use history to hopefully indicate something similar in the future, right? And when we look at Bitcoin, the way I do it, right, I would just look at the previous bear market percentages, right? And then just try to gauge it based off that. And that's kind of what we did in our last bear market. We used many different things, but if we just go, let's pull up the weekly time frame, right? We'll just come on over here and say you have your high to your low. Whoops, high to your low. And then you have your high to your low. And then you have your, high to your low. I think I missed that one by a tick. It's actually right there. So yeah, if we just look at this, right? 86%, 84%, 77%, right? So, you could take the average of these or try to figure out, a good mix there. But obviously, as the asset matures, the explosions up and the dumps down get a little bit less aggressive percentage-wise. That's why this number goes down, right? So 86%, 84%, 77%. So, just by looking at that and eyeballing it, it's like, well, maybe we get between like 73 and 75% down. And depending on where we top out at, right? Like, let's say we do wind up, let's say 110K was the top, right? That would bring us down to about 27K, which, could be plausible in my opinion, right? Just because if you kind of measure that out, right, 75% would be about, 25-ish K, right? And then you start combining that with your volume profiles. Like, what would that look like? It's like, well, okay, well, hey, maybe we do come back down. We have our previous volume profile here, right? This is obviously done, very quickly, but a lot more thought would go into this. But just in general, right? Well, it's like, hey, here's my macro volume profile. If we break down to, say, 53K, this would be a huge key level, right? If we get stuck under here, we could potentially go to the POC near 34K. And then as you approach that value area low, there's your 75%. Maybe you deviate below the range, put in some bullish confirmations, reclaim, back up to the high, back up into new all-time high. Something like that could be. But again, this looks a little aggressive, in my opinion, right? Because you also have a new major volume profile up in here, bottoming out about 50 at around 50K. Right. So, and you also have to think like institutional adoption, right, could prop price up a little bit in a bear market as well. So there's a lot of stuff that would have to go into it. I would have to sit down and like really script out an entire video. But, just in general, right, like if you just kind of see this trend continue where you get a little bit less of a dip every time and we came down from where we are now, that would bring us down to about, I would say 30 to 25K. If we went up to 100 if we went up to say 150, right, what would that look like? Where's it at? Let's go. Say we go to 150, and then we'll say we get like a 75% dump. Yeah, that would probably be a little bit more realistic. I don't know. It obviously depends if we get to 150K, right? But if we did get to 150K, that would bring us, maybe down towards that POC. It could make sense too, right? Something like that. But again, we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. We're going to have a ton of support up in here. But yeah, that's kind of how I would look at it. Just kind of compare it to the past. That's all we can really do. It's what we did here, right? It wasn't just the fact that I was waiting for a 75% correction or whatever this wound up being. What was this? So yeah, 77% correct. It wasn't that I was just waiting for a little bit less of a correction than here, but we were also keeping an eye on our weekly money flow, right? Looking for the big weekly bullish divergence that we were searching for, which we finally got and actually did wind up marking the direct bottom. So yeah, it's a mixture of stuff, right? And we're gonna have to see, kind of how it shakes out over time. But there you go. But we took a look at Ethereum. Let's see. I think we would go back sub 10K because of a major recession. Yeah, there would have to be something crazy that happens to bring us down to sub 10K. Obviously nothing's impossible, but we would need to see like some kind of Great Depression or something, in my opinion. Let's see. Frankie doing some witchcraft right now. Shout out to Hugo. So I'm just like, I'm hacking the mainframe. I'm just banging on the keyboard, guys. The lines just pop up where they pop up. I'm the luckiest person in the world. I don't even know TA. I just draw random lines, and for some reason, they get respected. I really don't know why. But let's see. Shout out to Manny. He said, shout out to Frankie the Candle Whisperer. Shout out to Manny. I appreciate you, brother. But yeah, let's go ahead and... Frankie, will the hot air continue to rise? Shout out to Crespo Crypto. Usually, that's just science right there. That's simply science. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the alts. Again, I don't really know. Took a look at Ethereum. Let's take a quick look at Solana, and then we'll take a look at ICP. And if you guys want to see your favorite altcoin, drop them in the chat. We're going to do like 2 requests, and I'll try to freeball some of them, but I'm going to try to go through these pretty quickly. Until we wind up seeing like some real crazy stuff here. Cardano obviously got to push up into our weekly and monthly naked points of controls before getting a little bit of a correction. Key support still does sit down here at the daily naked point of control golden pocket, sitting between 65 and 60 cents with our anchored VWAP from the bottom of our dip here. You have our 786 sitting here at 62 cents. So these levels really remain the same on Cardano. I don't know why I decided to start with Cardano. But yeah, it's like kind of the same thing, right? We're at the POC of our macro range. This is, and again, we do also have a ton of horizontal resistance in here. Monthly, weekly naked points of controls, 786 Fibonacci retracement, right? Once we get above here, Start flipping it to support. That could open up the door for massive, massive moves to the upside, potentially targeting the macro value area high to 102. It is at $102, guys. $1.02. And then key support, just in general, value area low at 62 cents is going to be really, really big. Daily naked point of control, 786. Value area low, big level. So these would be like the two major levels that I would be looking at on Cardano. Daily money flow, looking for a green dot here on the daily, potentially. Money flow crossing back over into the red. 2-day red dot looking to print. We also have high time frame VWAP starting to roll over, which again doesn't necessarily mean go to zero, but could indicate, right? 3-day money flow back in the green on Cardano. If we get these high time frame red dots, you might be able to cool off for a higher low and then a continuation of the overall trend to the upside. That is right. But let me jump back into Solana. I kind of just jumped on Cardano randomly there. Let's see. Shout out to Crypto J. Says, key levels for Bitcoin. I'm late to the party. Shout out to Crypto J. Just scrub back to the beginning of the show. I give you every single key level you got to be watching. Shorting ETH at $15. Shout out to Vegas Claw. All right, let's see here. Shout out to Tales of Mystery. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you in here. All right, let's see. So for Solana, okay. So we got the dip, right, into our POC, right? So pulled from our swing low, right, to our swing high. We get the golden pocket 786. We get the correction right into that golden pocket. This is the level that we looked at 2 days ago. Or on Wednesday, we pushed on into that POC, golden pocket 786. We got the push back up to our daily naked point of control, and that is what we are rejecting right now. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, Solana remaining the same as well. We do have our 4-hour red dot looking to print. We have come up and tapped our daily naked point of control, like, beautifully. I cannot overstate how important these levels are, especially for, like, day trades, right? Like, the daily naked points of controls, even if you're looking for, like, a small little scalp, right? Like, from a daily naked rejection, you're already down 2.5%. Plenty of room to make some money, especially if you're using leverage. But you do have your 4-hour red dot looking to print. So if we are going to continue down here, this, obviously, we've already gotten that golden pocket tapped. And the POC, like between 142 and call it 138, like big level to hold. That's why we had it marked out. We got the bounce into the resistance level. But for the most part, right, like in general, as long as we, just like we've been saying forever here on Solana, as long as we remain above this POC of the range, the journey into the value area high / daily naked point of control 786 between, I would call it 161 to 168, is still going to be the next major target to the upside. As long as you remain above the POC, right? It's okay to come test it, right? As long as you don't lose it, right? And spend time under there. You can come down. It does act as a magnet. You get sucked down there a few times, but as long as you stay above it, looking to continue that journey into the anchored VWAP, which starts at about 158, into the daily naked point of control value area high between 161.26 and 166.83. And again, deviate below the low, right? Come up to a higher time frame. Like, how did we know that this was likely going to be the move? Deviate below the value area low with bullish divergences into key support, which we did have down here. I'm not going to bring it up because it'll take too long. But back above the value area low, flip that value area low, a.k.a. doorway to higher prices to support. Next likely place for price to go, POC of the range. Get above the POC. You can then begin your journey into the value area high. So those are key levels above for Solana. I actually might even be interested in some scalp shorts up here. 158 all the way up to 166.79, right? 786 daily naked point of control at 161 to 162. Nice confluence there. But yeah, I mean, you're just within your range here. We could look for that to potentially continue. Stay above that POC. Could look to the upside. But I am going to take this golden pocket off the chart real quick just because we have already taken that out. So I'm actually going to hide this. I'm going to leave the 786, right? I'm going to leave the box here on the POC, between the POC and the 786, but lose that 786. Could come down to the weekly naked at 133.38. That would be the next level I would watch below. Daily green dot looking to print. Yeah, you have the 4-hour red dot looking to print. Daily green dot looking to print, right? So I'll just have to see what happens here. But just letting the volume profile guide the way, right? Over, generally, low, POC, flip the POC. Eventually, you do see that value area high. Not 100% guarantee. I'm not telling everybody to long Solana right this second. But that could be what we see next, as long as we stay within that profile. Let's see. 95K Bitcoin incoming. Let's see. Who said it? Who said it? Shout out to JP. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I would say the monthly naked point of control is huge to hold, right? We come down there. To be honest with you, I might take a little profit on my first short entry that I took up here and move my stop loss to break even if we can come down to 96K. Because again, we'll see what that 30-minute green dot does not want to print. Like, that's crazy. This thing just keeps getting rejected at the 0 line. But again, if we hold 96K, the next stop could be 98.3. So I might just want to lock in some profit. I went to rock in some profit there. Log in some profit on that short, move my stop loss to break even. That way, at least if we do get the bounce back up, I'll make some money, and then I can just look for another entry up there and potentially even a long if we are able to put in a higher low. So yeah, we will see what happens here. Ideally, I would still prefer for a long position, if I'm being totally transparent here. If I were to look for a long position, I would still want to see a bigger pullback, right? At this point, right, if you are not long from one of these higher lows, it's not the time to chase a long up here, in my opinion. And that doesn't mean that I don't think it can continue up, right? It just means that I'm not just going to long because we pushed up, right? I would need to come down, put in a setup, take out some lows, see some confirmation, and then enter a long position. So I would still I don't want to say I would really look for a long at 96K, but you could get the bounce there. I'm okay. Just because I think it could bounce off 96K and go back up to 98.3 doesn't mean that I have to long every single move. If I don't get a setup there, I'm not going to take the trade. I'll just let it go up and then look for another trade. But there you go. We'll see if we can, we'll mark out 96K here, see if we hit it as we do TA on the altcoins. Let's see. 4-hour bear div about to print. This would be like a continued bearish divergence, which is higher highs, lower highs. Again, into our first key level of resistance. The only one we have left over here is 98.3. Again, maybe we come up and hit that. I don't know. But I took a shot here, right? I'm okay taking those, managing the risk tightly. Not going to take a big loss on that. But yeah, 4-hour red dot, 15-minute money flow. If we do get that 4-hour red dot and we pull back before going to 98.3, 15-minute money flow crossover might be a nice thing to watch for to see the bigger continuation. So we'll see. But yeah, we took a look at Ethereum, took a look at Solana, let's take a quick look at ICP. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob, said I gotta go, Candle fam. Thank you for the alt list, ADA and AVAX. I'm gonna pin that. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate you so much, bro. Thank you for everything you do for us here, and have a great night, bro. Have a great night, and we'll see you mañana, my friend. Let's see. LRC. I'm just gonna write down some randoms here from chat. I'll try to take a quick look at these. Litecoin. Not gonna be able to get to every single one of these. I do want to check out Litecoin real quick. Could we see Bitcoin dominance go down and alts running? Feels close. Let's check out BTCD. I don't know why I said BTCD. Let's check out, I guess that's what it is, but let's check out dominance real quick. So let's take a look-see here. Let me come back over here. BTC.D. So, I mean, yeah, we're above the POC. I mean, here's the thing, right? This was our last major level to look at for a rejection until we lose 64.29%. So if we get below this POC and start losing it again, that's your best shot at an alt rally. But then even then, you're coming down to key support. We really want a massive dump on Bitcoin dominance for the real alt season to begin. Everybody and their grandma has been calling for alt season this entire cycle. The only time, right, I'm not saying the only time that we looked for the altcoins to pump was when we were rejecting our macro golden pocket. We waited patiently. 55%, huge level. Everybody thought it was, and then we continued up, right? And we were just looking at our golden pocket. All this is noise, right? We're just looking at those key technical levels. We come into the golden pocket. We get the bigger rejection. We get the little alts to rally slightly here. And then we just come back and rip to the upside. And as soon as we broke back above this value area low, I was not interested in the alt pumping, because once you get above that value area low, the next key target to the upside was 64.29%. We wicked up there, and then we filled that wick into that level. And now we're flipping that to support. Generally speaking, if you don't lose this and get another rejection, right, that could be your next pullback on dominance. But we're above that POC right now. Technically, the next target to the upside could be 66.21%. That's at least what I have on my chart, right? Doesn't mean we have to get up there, but the if this then that is if Bitcoin dominance comes up here, that's your next opportunity to look for a correction, right? Because once you break above a golden pocket, the next likely place for price to go is very often the 786. When you get above a value area low, the next likely place for price to go is very likely the POC. And this works so well that I am pretty unwilling to go against it, right? So we'll see, right? Again, but it's an if this, then that. If we continue up, this would be the next place to look for a rejection. If we come down first, you want to lose that POC for a potential correction, right? But right now, we basically flipped this POC to support, which is not the best thing, at least for altcoins, right? It's nice for, obviously, Bitcoin's not hurting right now. But let's see. Okay, so let's real quick check out Cardano. We did take a quick look at Cardano, but we have been keeping an eye on Cardano recently, so I'll just go over this one more time. Just from a higher time frame perspective, we dipped below our major value area, right? This is undervalued. This is where you want to look for price to reclaim your value area low, aka doorway to higher prices, specifically your doorway to the POC of the range, which sits here at about 72 cents, 73 cents, right? What happens? You get up, you flip it to support, bingo, right? Bing bong, right into the POC. If we continue to correct, key levels to the downside do remain 65 to 64 cents. That's your golden pocket daily naked point of control, anchored VWAP confluence. Lose that level, 786 value area low, daily naked point of control between 62 and 60 cents is absolutely key. If you lose that level, you're probably coming down to 55 cents. And to be honest, if we pull this full golden pocket, yeah, you do have actually looks nice as well. Those are local levels, but you do have your golden pocket just below your value area low, and then your 786 daily naked point of control. I would say this is your last line of defense on Cardano, right? Between 56 and 55 cents. You start losing that, obviously, lower lows are probably going to come. But for now, these are your next two key levels to look at. If we're going to continue to put in higher lows and higher highs, which would be nice if we could get that daily money flow to cross over into the green on that next green dot. Even if you do correct, you would look for higher lows and higher highs. Flip above the POC, that opens the door up towards the value area high. Simply put, right? So yeah, daily money flow is coming back out into the red, but we'll see if we can get that green dot. Let's check the 16-hour green dot printing. Yeah, you got some 1 hour bear divs here. So yeah, you might just kind of bing bong around here a little bit, to be honest. But those are the key levels that I would be looking at. Continue down, first level here, second level here. Break up, you're looking to really flip 73 cents, 74 cents to support. That would open up way more upside for Cardano, in my opinion. So there you go. You also have your 2 week, green dot not printing quite yet. But don't forget, guys, another thing we looked at on Bitcoin, 2 week green dot printing with the daily money flow crossover, right? It's like another reason why I anticipated the push up into this big level. Money flow crossover on the daily with the 2 week green dot is a market cipher B 116 strategy, which are bullish strategy that sets up for typically a big continuation of the upside. Shout out to New Earth. Welcome in, bro. Said, what is going on? Shout out to you, bro. You crack me up. Every time he puts it in there, I hear it in my head. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Do we think Bitcoin tops at 125K, which is another 25-ish%, and ETH is going to do a 3 to 5X? Shout out to OT. I do have 25K on Bitcoin as our next local target, if that's what you're talking about. And ETH 3 to 5X from here. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. High targets for me on ETH would be next all-time highs. Would actually have to be based off this fib. Pull from here to the all-time low of 2022. So yeah, 57 to 7,200. That would be like, if we break the all-time high, that'd be like the first major zone I would look at. So yeah, that is probably, if you break out there, break above, like this would very likely be the next spot that we got hung up on, right? And then if you wind up breaking out of that, you're creeping up towards 9 to 12K. But again, we'll have to see what happens at these next levels. We'll see if we can break out of the all-time high, and then I would just look up in here. And that currently from today's price would be 300% just about. So I mean, yeah, assuming we see new all-time highs on Ethereum, you could see upwards of 5 to 7K. Not a guarantee. But again, I'll be conservative until we see what happens up here. If it looks bullish up there, we could just continue to look higher. But let's continue on here. Let's take a look at ICP real quick. Bada boom. All right. So we took a look at ICP recently, I believe. I think on the last live stream we looked at it via request. Yeah, here's the one thing about ICP. I like ICP, but it is also heavily pushed by influencers. So I'll be careful about what you hear about ICP out there. But from a binary chart standpoint, I would say I do hold some ICP. 16-hour green dot. Let's see, 1 hour money flow. Looking to cross over into the green. Okay, I don't hate that. 12-hour green dot looking to print as well. 45-minute money flow also in the green. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? Let me pull this. I don't think this is going to help us at all. Yeah. All right, so for ICP, here's the thing, right? We are inside of our bear market range, right? We've broken in, right? Let me zoom in a little bit here, right? We have broken inside of our – oh, here. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, out of 13 Mays from 2011 to 2023, 7 were bullish, 6 were bearish. So, I mean, I guess I sell in May and go walk away. I believe goes to the stock market as well. So maybe the history goes back further there. But yeah, I mean, there you go. Sell in May and walk away. Meanwhile, 7 were bullish, 6 were bearish. Like, how good is that statistic, right? But I don't know. It is because it does. I think it does transfer to stocks as well. And you're going to be able to get way more history on stocks. Tony, can you check on that too? Because I would have to assume if there's such a popular saying, sell in May and go away. Surely there's been more bearish Mays than bullish Mays over the past 20 years or something. Yeah, that's interesting. That is very interesting. I should buy stonks. Shout out to New Earth. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. As Bitcoin was going sideways here, as Bitcoin was chopping, let me come to a little higher time frame here. As Bitcoin was chopping sideways here, I was about to start trading like cattle futures or something. Absolutely insane. But yeah, Tony, can you check on, if you have time, I'm sure you're doing other stuff, but if you have time, check on the stock market as well. There's got to be strong statistics from the stock market, because if not, that would mean that everybody just says that to say it. That's impossible. I refuse to believe that. Chewy says, Tony, can you do everything? Shout out to Tony D. Oh, by the way, bro, also, can you change the title? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's go back to ICP real quick. So, yeah, the one thing here is we are inside of our macro bear market range, right? So we come up here. Well, this thing basically just started dumping as soon as it was launched, right? Boom, big bear market. Consolidation down here in 2022, 2023, right? During the bear market, we get our nice little consolidation range. We get the breakout, the retest, another lower high, and then we get the bigger breakdown. So I'll be honest here, right? Like, from a textbook, or I'm sorry, from a binary chart standpoint, right? We have broken down below. What can we say about this? We've broken down below the value area, right? High. We've come back up. We bearishly retested. Typically, in those cases, the next likely place for price to go is the POC, right? So if we come back down, the next target would be $4, right? 404, sitting at the POC of the range. Does this mean we have to come down there? Not necessarily. Are these levels more often than not tapped? Yes. So at this point, right, if we are going to continue up, now, there are things to look at here. We do have lower lows on price action. We have higher lows on our momentum waves. Money flow is trending up here on the daily with a VWAP coming up, right? So as long as this money flow can continue to trend to the upside, that would indicate that the overall trend may be changing to bullish, right? And then this 786 would be the wall in front of you to get above, to really break out to higher prices, in my opinion. But yeah, you're just within your bear market range, right? So until we break out of here, I can't get that excited because, again, that POC does tend to act as a magnet for price. Yeah, it's I'm tempted to readjust this profile, but it looks pretty clean to me. Let me just see something real quick. Yeah, it's I can't even get that POC to move at all. Let's see if I pull it from here. Yeah, it's just still. Definitely your next key level to the downside, 404, right? POC, right? And again, more often than not, you get stuck under this range. POC is next. Lose the POC, value area low is next. That doesn't mean it has to happen, though. I would say money flow needs to continue up here with the green dot on the daily. If you continue up, the next target remains the same as the last time we looked, which is going to be the golden pocket 786 retracement. So let's say we do see a continued bounce off this 2-day bull div. The next major place to look for price to go is going to be about 617. You break above the volume profile, I would be careful here because you have your 786, but 675 is going to be the big level to get above. Once you get above here, you could potentially go in and get accepted into your upper volume profile, right? And then that could fill you up to about $9.58. But, from a high time frame perspective, to be quite honest with you, right? Let's come up to like a weekly time frame. I'd really like to start breaking some of these highs here, right? Get out of this range. That'd be the kind of the first sign of strength, maybe, and then get above this value area low at 753. That is going to be a little bit more bullish looking, but we got to get out of this bear market range, especially with these untested POs. Like, if we had gotten in here and gotten a big drop to the POC and the value area low, and now we had 2-day bull divs at the value area low, and we're moving up, like, I would feel much more bullish. It's just like having these lower value area levels front run with no significant break of structure on the higher time frames. Like, we have to break some of this structure to feel a little bit more bullish. So you're kind of just sitting down here in the bear market range. But I would say locally, if you get that daily green dot, could continue up towards your golden pocket 786 retracement between 677 and 605. You got your 90-minute money flow looking to cross over here into the green. So if we get that daily green dot at the same time as that, could get that bigger continuation or a little continuation back up into these fib levels. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for the super chat. The GOAT, baby. The GOAT. He said, in the past 2 decades, 11 bullish and 9 bearish May months for the stock market. ChatGPT says the saying is dated and no longer correlates to recent years. This is why, you can't listen to like random things. You have to prove things to yourself. When someone says, I'm bearish on Bitcoin, man, I think we're going to go down to 15K. Ask yourself, like I do, what are you basing that off of? Are you basing that off of the fact that you were just in the red for the past 2 months and you can't bear to see another red candle and you're just giving up? Or do you see real things on the chart that could potentially point towards that? That is pretty crazy. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for pointing that out. So, yeah, there you go. Don't believe everything. It's almost the same thing with patterns, right? Like, patterns obviously do play out more often in the direction you would think than they don't. But, it's just like, what are the actual statistics here? Are we talking 50-50? Are we talking 51-49? Like, what are we talking here? If BTC breaks all-time highs, what do you think Solana's next price high will be? Shout out to Tales of Mystery. Let's see. If BTC breaks all-time highs, what do you think Solana's next high will be? I mean, I would have to base it off the same thing that we base everything else off of, which would just be my Fibonacci extensions. So let's go ahead and pull those up, right? So 342 to 378 would be like the next major target to the upside. All right. So boom. Yeah, I mean, if you break this high, yeah, I would say this would probably be the next major zone. Up to 419. This would be the next major zone. Between 342 and 378 would be the first area, right? And then 419 would be your last Fibonacci level until you get up into these higher targets. You probably will have maybe some local targets as well, but I would say, like, you break the all-time high, that would be a major target, 342 to 378. We'll see what happens. But that is what I would look at. And these the reason that these Fibonacci extension targets work, guys, is because other people look at these levels, right? So when we get up there, people try to short it, people try to sell, because they're all reacting off the same level. It's basically a self-fulfilling prophecy. All right, let's see. Horse in May and eat some hay. Shout out to Cryptic Crabman. Let's go, baby. Okay, so let's continue on here. Took a look at ADA. Let's take a look at AVAX. We haven't taken a look at AVAX in a minute. Let's see what we got. What do we have? AVAX on Coinbase. There it is. All right, so, yeah, see, this is honestly, like, even this is a little nicer than ICP, in my opinion, just because it's, I mean, like, you have the divs into a macro POC, right? Like, 2-day div into the macro POC, higher lows on your momentum waves, right? Lower lows, higher lows, right? Yeah, you get break out of this profile. Your next major target, I guess we actually have looked at this somewhat recently, at least since we made the low. Yeah, break out of this volume profile. I would say, I mean, listen, you come up to the weekly, right? Like, you're already starting to crack some of these highs. You break out of this value area, looking up towards the golden pocket value area low confluence. You have nice confluence on this level. So if you're looking for that golden pocket retracement, and this isn't even the full golden pocket retracement. Full golden pocket retracement brings you closer to the POC. The local brings you right up here to the value area low. So I would say if you could continue to get your money flow, the green dot on the daily money flow continues into the green, you get the continuation of the upside, that would definitely be the next target on AVAX. Between 27.38 and about 28.25. Definitely going to be the next level. If you get stuck back in the range, you would obviously just look to go back to towards your POC, where you could potentially start a nice little new local range here. Right? Of your highs, your lows, highs, lows, come back here, dip into the POC again, reclaim, and then maybe you break out. But I would watch that daily green dot to be the next thing to give us a move up. And if it does give us that continuation, I would look for that golden pocket value area low, which is the doorway to higher prices, right? Because if you break above this, sure, you have your 786 at about 31.43, but you get above that POC sitting at 35.97. So yeah, upper value area low, 27.61, POC 35.87, value area high 49.07. That's your upper profile. And then your lower range, you don't want to get stuck under 21.52, right? Because that opens the door back down to your POC at 17.33. Lose that, go to your value area low at 12.33. So there you go. Green dot printing. Let's check that 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour. Ugh, man, 1 hour's back in the red now. VWAP coming up. So you can watch that, right? How much time do we have left on that 16-hour candle? 31 minutes. If we can get that 1 hour money flow crossover in the next 31 minutes, that would be nice. Let's check the 45-minute. Money flow is in the green. Yeah, so you really got to break out here. If you get stuck back in here, you're probably going back to the POC, in my own personal opinion. But if you break out, next target, major target, 27.50 up to 28.30. Golden pocket, value area low, doorway to higher prices. So there we go. Let's see. Shout out to Hugo, said he's got to go to bed. I saw you say that earlier. He said, I'm only still here for Frankie's end of stream fake out. But yeah, let's go ahead. I'm going to rock out one more altcoin here. We're going to take a look at... Let's take a look at Litecoin. We haven't taken a look at actually, we did take a look at Litecoin recently, and here we are. Let's pull up the daily real quick. All right, so we're still within our macro range, right? But this is honestly looks a little nicer to me, right? Because we broke down into our volume profile, got stuck below the high. At that point, POC is very likely, which is super high to super close to the value area high. But you get stuck under the value area high. And what happens? You get the full fill the volume profile to the low. Once you hold the low, you get the bounce. Where's the next likely place for price to go? POC of the range. We just hit that. So at this point, right, you're at resistance. I would be shocked if this was not a 786 POC. So yeah, this is your local resistance between the POC and the 786. You can take that golden pocket off the chart because you already tapped it. Right, so 786 POC. Actually, let me... Okay, so 786 POC, you are hitting that retracement level, so you might be able to cool off a bit here. You do have your daily green dot, though. What's that 90-minute looking like? Ooh, 90-minute money flow crossover. Oh, baby. So, yeah, I would say this. I mean, you held the low. You went to your POC. Target acquired, right? Flip that POC. Value area high at 96.78 is going to be your next big level to look at. That would be your next target to the upside. And if I pull... Let me see this. Golden pocket confluence. Yeah, so, we're at resistance right now, but if you do continue up, next zone I would look for would be between the 786 and the golden pocket from this lower high to the low. You could even break that up, right? Golden pocket, value area high between 93.96 and 96.78. And then once you get above there, flip the 786. This is really the level you want to get above to get the big move. Because again, right, it's like we want to break. Yeah. So I would definitely say this is your next key level of resistance. 786, obviously going to be a level as well. But once you break out here, you would hope that you get sucked up towards your doorway to higher prices. This is the doorway to higher prices or the value area low on Litecoin. That sits at about 108.41. But you come on over to a higher time frame here, right? It's like we want to get above these highs. We want to get out of this value area to get accepted higher and then send it. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still within that bear market range. But again, this does look nicer than ICP, in my opinion, because we came to the low, held the low, and now you're seeing the fulfill the profile. So, yeah, just simple volume profile there, in my opinion. 2-week green dot looking to print. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I got, right? And then once you get up in here, that's your next little consolidation range. But, at the end of the day, your next big zone, right? If you're looking for, like, alt season absolute ripper, you're looking to get into this range, right? Like, if we're really looking to send this thing, this is the value area low, which does, actually, let me adjust this slightly. So, yeah, this would be the upper range. Value area low, 111. POC at 181. Value area high, 233. So you just kind of have this little consolidation in the meantime. But, yeah, once you get back into that range, this is local, right? That'd be like the macro value area low to get above. So there you go. Yeah, that's what I'll be looking at on Litecoin. Let's see. Shout out to Angelic, says, Frankie, for your spot bags, how do you determine when you plan on selling? Do you sell your spot bags each bull market, or do you hold longer term? Shout out to Angelic. It depends. I mean, I usually sell cycle to cycle. Right? Try to sell the top and buy the bottom of the bear markets, obviously. But Fibonacci extensions are really the only thing that you can use, unless you're using spider lines. It's the only thing that you can use on Bitcoin to look for higher targets without previous price action, right? Because when you look for resistance, you're always going to be looking left, right? You're like, if you're looking for resistance on this move up, well, we're going to look into this price action to see where the resistance is. But once you break that all-time high, you can't look left. There's no price action, right? So the only thing we can look at is Fibonacci extension levels. So that's typically where I would look to take some off the table for me personally, right? And I actually talked about them a little earlier in the stream. As we push up, when we start hitting that 137, if we start hitting 137 to 155, it's a big area where I'm looking to take a little bit off the table, and has everything to do with those Fibonacci extension levels. Now, if we come back over to Bitcoin, let's see what we got going on here. All right, so we're still just playing around here. Before I let you guys go, I will just say, watch that monthly naked point of control. 96K, that's going to be the biggest level to look at, right? Because if we come down there and we hold this, we might be able to go up to 98.3, up to that daily naked point of control, which, again, at that point, I will hopefully be stopped out in profit on my short. But if we wind up losing that level, maybe we see the correction without going back up. I do have a sneaking suspicion that we do go up to 98.3, just with the fact that, this 30-minute green dot has been held off for so long, right? So we'll see what that does. And we'll see if that 4-hour red dot prints first. It's a little bit mixed up here, to be quite honest. But I'm in the short. We'll see what happens. If I stop out in profit, I'll be looking up to 98.3. If we lose 96K, that might be able to give us a little bit more of a correction down, where you guys all know where I'm looking for those higher lows to come in before higher highs. If you don't know, scrub back to the beginning of the stream. I'll go over every single level in detail, not only show why it's a key level, or not only show that it's a key level, but why exactly it's a key level and what I expect if we do come down to those levels. So shout out to the Candle Mafia. Pitchforks are fire. Trend lines too. You kind of use trend lines. Yes, shout out, or you can kind of use trend lines. Shout out to Hugo's. Yeah, I like pitchforks too. I don't use them very often, only because you can only use so much stuff. But yeah, let me see if there's any last minute questions in chat. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. For your spot bags, okay, we answered that. Balancer is old, okay. Shout out to Crypto Billy, said I have to run. We'll see you later, Billy. Thank you for being here, bro. Appreciate you. I think that's it. I don't see any other questions. Shout out to Vegas Claw, said, I guess we'll end it on this, guys. You never know what you have until it's gone. A good example is toilet paper. So... with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. If you're just tuning in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream. I give you all the breakdowns on each key level and what I'm expecting next on Bitcoin. We got to push into our resistance level. Are we going to reject or go up to 98.3? We'll see what happens. Hopefully we dump. I don't want to get stopped out of my short, even though it is I got a tight stop, but I don't want to get stopped out. Come on, just give me a winning trade here. It's the first trade I took this week. So with all that being said, guys, I'll keep you guys updated. If you don't want to scrub back and watch the beginning of the stream, you can check out the market update. Still not out of date, so you can check that out as well. But yeah, shout out to everybody in here. Pangu, shout out to Rock 1000. We're gonna check Pangu tomorrow because I actually want to take a look at Pangu with you guys. But yeah, with all that being said, I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in. Smash that like button on your way out. I don't know what we're at right now, but I had not said smash that like button at all this stream, so Smash it on your way out if you have not already and appreciate this free content we give every single day, except for yesterday. But with all that being said, I'll see you guys here tomorrow. Same place, same time. We got giveaways tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, we got giveaways to do tomorrow, so we're going to be giving away some crypto, so don't miss tomorrow's live stream, and I'll see you guys later. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm going to get that second bell. Where the f*** is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, I can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Shout out to Crypto Pesa. I never know how to say your name, bro, but he says, "Hey Frankie, are you selling Bitcoin right now?" Shout out to you, bro. I am selling Bitcoin. I'll drop in the Discord the address you could come to. It's actually physical Bitcoin. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those, but I will be selling those at a discounted price in some back alley. I'll drop the address for you guys if you want to come get some special Bitcoin. I'm just kidding. Shout out to Crypto Pesa. Yeah, I am actually currently short Bitcoin, if that is what you mean. I have not sold any of my spot bags up here. I don't know exactly what you mean, but I have not sold any of my spot bag just yet, as I do not think it's the bear market. But I am technically in a small short position in case we do get the rejection here. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated tomorrow, and I will see you guys in the premium Discord. That's all I got. I'll see you tomorrow. Hasta pasta. Frank Candles out. Bing bong!
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to